kids. So it's our second news show, and we're all here today. So
happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's. I wore my red hat, just for the occasion.
I wore red underwear in case anybody's watching.
You wore underwear today?
Yeah, but I'm backwards. It's usually my shower cap, but hey, what are you gonna do?
You must have wore it yesterday.
I
then,
did
too.
wear it. I
That's why
turned
it's
it inside
backwards
out.
today.
Yeah. Did you enjoy your tea today?
So anyway, could you tell everybody who we are here?
Oh, I'm sorry. You want to start the show now?
Welcome to the Whiskey Roundtable.
Thank you, Wizard.
Well, how long we been on? All right, let's get started. Welcome to the Whiskey Roundtable. I am your host, Big G.
Karen Hellicolor.
Doug Dunbar.
I appreciate you guys doing the show, watching, and hoping everybody's sitting back having a cigar, obviously, and some bourbon or scotch, if you will, and sit back and let's have some fun. So we're gonna
enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Sidecar couldn't make it.
Sidecar
tonight.
couldn't make it today, and that's fine. And
so we're guestless. We're guestless.
We're guestless, so to say, in more ways than one. Put your seatbelts on and enjoy the show. All right.
Oh my!
So what do you kid? So you work from home today?
I did work from home today, half a day.
Yeah.
It's been a rough. It was a rough year today. No, it's been a really rough week. And I looked at my calendar this morning or yesterday. I said, I don't have any meetings. I'm taking half a day. I just, I needed the break. So I took half a day. He came home from his one job. We went to lunch. It was nice. Came home, did some shopping. Got some last minute Valentine's gifts for you.
Came home, ate lunch, and I was at the office till after 5 o'clock. Busy, which is good. I'm all right with that. So it was funny because I went to work today and couldn't get into the building, so to say. So apparently the other establishment that I work at, they decided to change the locks on one of the buildings that we report to. And
that's the first key to like telling them.
What's that?
They changed the locks.
Yeah, they changed the locks.
But they let you in anyway.
They let me in anyway. I got one. I kicked the door in. So I had my buddy Randy come down and ugly the door open. So we got in. But so they changed everything. So then I had to go out to the back building to release some vehicles, so to say, and the alarm went off. So here the alarm company calls. None of the codes I'm using work. Here they changed all that as well. But they forgot to send the emails out. So there was a lot of pissed off people, trust me when I tell you today. So it was kind of a funny day, so to say, but we got through it. It worked out pretty good. So it was kind of an easy day today.
See, I would have gone to work if the doors were locked. I'd been like, guess I got the day off. I'll see y'all Monday.
What are you going to do? Can't get in.
I ain't got to leave. I just got to get the hell out of here.
Like it's a sign from God. I have to go home.
Too funny.
What about you, Doug? What's new with you?
Well, not too much. With me, just same old this week. But Kayla, my daughter, the songwriter in Nashville, just released her first single today.
Awesome.
It's the one that you hear on the closing credits of our cast here. So, but that's now available out there.
Is that Tequila Makes Her Clothes Fall Off? Is that the song?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. Just thought I'd ask.
If whiskey stopped working, yes.
Same thing.
Out there on all major retailers. So if you like what you hear at the end of the cast, you can pick that up. So.
And stay after the credits, you show the pictures. Go ahead.
My single released last week, and then my album is out.
Isn't it always?
That's what we're here for.
It's always about whiskey. It's always about whiskey. Right, Randy? All right, just checking. Randy was kind enough to buy me a cigar, which I told him I was going to smoke during the show, but I got a late start from having to do the news and doing all the stuff that we're doing. And so your cigar's second in line. Sorry, bro. So he got me a nice Perdomo Lot 23 Estelis Nicaraguan cigar, which Estelis is where the, if I remember correctly, where the tobacco farm is. So Nick Perdomo Senior and Junior, it was their project that they started, and so I haven't smoked it yet. I know that I looked it up at a couple of about 4 or 5 different places that sell big companies online that sell cigars, and you can't get it there. And I haven't seen it. I have a buddy of mine who owns a cigar lounge over in Solon, Nicky, and he stocks the full line of Perdomo, but I don't see that cigar in there either. So
You met Nick Perdomo there a few
I
years
actually-
back.
me and Nick Perdomo used to be friends. I actually have a couple pictures of me and him hanging out. So he was always a very good guy. Matter of fact, he gave me one of my cigar boxes because I'm a big Porsche fanatic. They got a special. He wanted to paint it a gunmetal gray, and he liked he had a Porsche in that color, and he got the rights from Porsche. They let him paint his cigar boxes in that color. So
You have to get the rights.
Yeah, you can't just. It's a Porsche color. Only they own it. So it's not something you can get. You know.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So like if
So it's autographed. I have it. So
like if we showed a picture of it, would YouTube maybe flag it as
Oh, I don't know.
being a
I don't know.
copywritten
If they,
color?
if they want to be pricks, they can do whatever they want to. So
Don't call them pricks. We're
I'm
using
sorry.
their
I said if they want to be.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
I mean,
Wanna be.
that's a little inside joke.
Right.
But the trouble we had using
Yeah.
Kayla's song,
Your
even
own
though we had all
daughter's
the
stuff,
permission
right.
to do it, YouTube was.
Hey, they were on the
Anyway,
ball though.
it
They
took a little
flagged it.
work to, but we got it taken care of.
All
That's-
right. All right. Let's.
What are you smoking since you're not
So,
smoking
so this
Randy's?
cigar, this is a Royal Havana cigar. Royal Havana Cigars in Willoughby, Ohio, 38448 Lakeshore Boulevard in Willoughby. So Dave actually had this in particular cigar that he didn't stock. He actually had this cigar made for me.
Oh,
So,
not that 660 again.
yeah, baby. So this is one of my favorite cigars, and I got that 660 going on. Yeah.
Okay, and I got.
I don't think anybody got
Smells
the joke, but I got it. But
Well, that was last week's joke. I wasn't going to bring that back up again, but I got also from Royal Havana. I got one of their Tatiana chocolate cigars. I usually do the Groovy Blues, which like they're a grape, but this time I went with the chocolate, and even Doug, when I lit up, you're like, "Ooh, that
Yeah.
smells nice."
Smells
So,
wonderful.
Yeah, it's good.
yeah,
Very
Royal
good.
Havana
It's a good-
Cigars has got a good line of selection for women for cigars that aren't harsh or very good. They're all flavored, and there's not a bad one in the bunch, and they're very reasonably priced. So if you guys ever get a chance, anybody in the area or you're out in the area stop by Royal Havana Cigars, man. Go check them out. As I always say, you can get a cigar anywhere, but you can only get a good cigar at Royal Havana Cigars. So go check them out. So
Nice.
part of the commercial that I'm doing, by the way. So just thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's get back to whiskey, kids. What are we doing?
All right.
Talk. Let's hear it.
Well, what are you talking about?
We are. So tonight we are drinking Wild Turkey Longbranch. So that's
What you see right there
what
in
you
the
see on the table.
front of the
Matthew
table?
McConaughey and was it Eddie and
Eddie Russell,
Eddie Russell.
Eddie Russell
Jimmy
and Jimmy Russell put it together.
Down a
And
Wild Turkey.
so we thought it was one of the gimmicky type of bourbons, and we kind of always stayed away from it. I like Wild Turkey. I like Jim Beam, and we always kind of stayed away from it. And we bought it on a fluke, or it was a gift, somebody. So we decided last year that we were going to open it. It probably sat on the bar for probably 2 or 3 years. So we finally broke into it, and we just said, this is going to just be one of those marketing things where people are going to buy it for marketing. They think it's going to be great. But actually, we've had it before, and it is fantastic. So any of you new listeners watching today, February is some of the drinks that we are doing are some drinks that we have done in the past. And the reason is because it's Valentine's Day month, so to say. We always try to do a theme for our bourbons and whiskeys and scotches. So it would be Van Winkle or any of those other companies that produce some of the rare stuff. And so this is my wife. She loves.
This is my pick this
Her
this
pick,
week.
right.
The Longbranch, a big Wild Turkey fan, and I think I was the one that was kind of hesitant about opening it up just because it is Matthew McConaughey's, and I did think it's gimmicky.
She sleeps with it.
Yeah. Never
She
mind.
uses
I'm
it
not
to
gonna
brush
go-
her teeth.
I'm not gonna go there.
So.
But so when we tried it, it became my favorite. It's a lower proof bourbon. I think it's 86
86
proof.
yeah.
So it's a lower proof bourbon, not a lot of bite to it, and once I tasted it, I knew it was my favorite. So
Good stuff. It really is good. It really is fantastic with the mesquite wood and everything else. It's really, really good. But did you pick one for?
Yeah. Next week I'll be doing my love. It's in my top 10. The Cole Ela 12 single malt.
Single malt Scotch.
So
Now, where's that one from?
it's an Isla, so it'll be
Okay.
interesting because that's not your guys' favorite. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I have
Hey.
pretty good.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with a Lefroy, then I think you can handle it. So
Yeah, it was with the guys yesterday at the cigar lounge because I had an appointment out there. I try to do all my business out there. Nothing better than a cigar and a drink, doing business. But so we have this bottle which we were not going to get into and leaving it there the whole month. Those guys are going to come in March at some point. So I gave them the instructions for everything that I'm going to need for the show to prep everything, and then two good friends. Two guys that have known each other forever started this company, and we'll get a little bit more into that as the month goes on, as we get some confirmation, and we'll talk about that a little bit more, because this is something that the show has never done before. So that's it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I know
Yeah.
you've had that before,
It's
but
fantastic.
I haven't.
It's $300 a bottle, but I like it.
Yeah. We got our little girl up. She obviously wants to
She
get on
wants to
air
come downstairs and eat food and lay on the couch and
and get dog hair all over
dog
everybody.
hair all over everybody.
She's like, "What are you doing down there?" So apologize for her, but
Yeah.
she's
So
obviously up.
you're so Doug's a big Scotch guy, so that's his
You're doing
favorite.
that
So
next week, yes.
and I was drinking Lefroy Triple Wood 10-year yesterday, which was really good. So
Is that as peaty as the?
it's smoky. It's real smoky. It's a Lefroy. It's going to be smoky.
Is peaty the right word, or
Yeah.
is it
Yeah.
smoky?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
both.
Okay.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
yeah, Pete.
So
Yeah,
it'll be
it's,
fun. It'll be fun. Come on, kids.
Yeah,
let's go.
I'm
Yeah.
looking
Yeah,
forward
yeah.
to it. I am looking
Jeez, let me
forward
check
to
your
it.
pulses over here.
No, that's okay. I'm just thinking, how can I get upstairs and yell at the dog without anyone noticing? But it's all
The
good.
gun's right over there. Just shoot it. That's what I do.
We have alcohol, honey. The gun
That's
is
why
in the
some of the drywall's falling down over there from
Anyway,
the dog. She's
Hopefully
quick
she'll-
when she hears
she'll calm
gunshots.
down.
isn't everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, should I break into some history and
Yeah, come
Yeah.
on, let's
you
do
all
it.
what's
Let's
going
talk
on?
about
Enough about
Longbranch.
us. Let's hear about Longbranch. There we go.
talk about Longbranch? So, like we mentioned, this is a collaboration effort with Matthew McConaughey, and they announced back in April of 2018 that this product was coming out. McConaughey had been the creative director at Wild Turkey for a little while prior to launching the product. So, to my understanding, he's still the creative director there today.
Yep.
And this launch, if you look at the bottle, it's the first time a Wild Turkey product bears the signature of someone other than the master distillers, Jimmy and Eddie Russell. Matthew's signature is right there on the front of the bottle along with Eddie Russell. So I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know if somebody had mentioned this while we were on or if this was before the show, but Longbranch is able to combine the flavor of Texas, which is McConaughey's home state, into the Wild Turkey product. And the one way that they do that is by using mesquite, which is a tree from Texas, if you don't know, and they use it a lot for grilling down there. If Steve and Donnelly are watching, I'm sure they've used it a few times.
They beat each other with it occasionally.
and they use it, thank you to Doug, as part of their charcoal filtration process.
Yes, they use American oak first, and then do a second with mesquite. So.
And that mesquite gives, and instead of adding a bunch of things to it, and then it was not considered a bourbon anymore, because you've got to be
We got to stick with the plan.
you got to stick with it, exactly.
Don't travel away from the plan. Stick with the plan.
But he did want a sweet product, so Eddie Russell suggested using the 8-year Wild Turkey, which is what they use, and that gives it the sweetness that they were looking for. So as they were experimenting with this, they realized that once they could drink this bourbon neat without ice, they had the product that they wanted. The other task, other than trying to get the bourbon made, was to decide on a name. And they decided on Longbranch because the name came from the relationship that the Russells had with Matthew McConaughey. And Longbranch can really be defined as inviting a friend into your family. And that's how Matthew McConaughey said that the Russells made him feel. He was part of their family. So all around, it's just a very family friend oriented theme.
Like the olive branch.
Yeah, olive branch,
The
long
olive
branch.
Randy, you would know that because you're Irish, but the extended arm, if you will. So
There you go. One of the articles I found, they had interviewed Matthew McConaughey just because it is his bourbon. I wanted to give some information there. In addition to being a bourbon lover, he also likes beer, sipping tequila, and port, which I think all of us like the port bourbons and whiskeys as well. And he drinks his whiskey neat, and if it's hot, maybe 1 cube. And I get that because on a hot day, it's hard for me to do the bourbon neat as well.
Yes, but not when he's driving his Lincoln.
No, never when he's driving us.
Too funny.
And then he says his favorite whiskey moment is camping with his family, enjoying Longbranch and a Romeo and Julieta cigar around a campfire.
About. That's what I'm saying.
So
that's what I'm saying.
So like we said, Longbranch uses the 8-year wild turkey, and it's only 86 proof. And I think it's a great bourbon for those that are new to the bourbon
is that
market.
Like $40 some a bottle? Something
Yeah, it's about $39, $40 a bottle. I think it's a great bourbon if you're new and you're not really sure, if you're going to like bourbon. Some of the bourbons are a little hot. They can be a little
spicy.
Sure. Leave kind of like this after flavor. The Longbranch does not do that. So if you're looking to break into bourbon as a hobby, I would suggest trying this. The lower proof, the sweetness, and the smoothness is great. It's a great introduction, and I do not think you will be let down.
No, you won't be. That's a very good product. I want to give a quick shout out to Rich, who is traveling, Frank and Karen's neighbor, and he's watching the show while he's driving. So, Rich, nice to see you, man. I'm glad you're doing okay. And,
yeah, Rich, glad you got in this week.
We will see you soon, I'm sure. So, thanks for watching.
So, like you said, it is around $39 a bottle, and it is readily available at most liquor stores here in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
You can go into Market District or any local liquor store, and you should be able to find it. It's right there with the wild turkeys usually.
Yep.
So, hopefully, you'll take our advice and go check it out.
You won't be disappointed.
So,
Fantastic. Well, should we...
Matthew likes to have his, he says, because he's usually somewhere where it's warm. He likes to take his with 1 ice cube in it.
Well, he said that this was so. He said that this was so good he wouldn't add ice to it.
He wouldn't add ice.
He would not add. He won't add ice to it. He drinks it straight, which I got a little respect for the guy now. But that's good. I can't recall last time, unless I'm over at Ivan's house. I can't recall last time I had ice in any of my bourbon. So like my buddy Eric, he'll give me a rocks glass and he'll heap it with ice and then pour. I'm like, no. Then you're drinking the worst stuff you can drink at that point because it's all watered down. You're like, oh my God, I'd rather have a hangover.
Oh my.
But anyway, so should we pass them out?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, come on.
I'm ready.
There you go.
I was ready at noon when I got off work today.
I bet you were. I couldn't tell with that big fishbowl you were drinking. I was drinking soda water. You're drinking a fishbowl.
Wild turkey smell right off the bat to me.
Yeah.
It's very good. It's not spicy at all. I get no spice out of it on the nose. I get the caramel. I get the wood.
I definitely get the wood.
I do. I get almost a little bit of a smoke to it, but get the vanilla.
I get, and some
Nut.
corn.
Yeah,
A little
I
bit
get nut out
of
of it.
corn for sure.
You know, one thing we did
Some
not
of
do.
the like sweet corn and
We didn't do the notes.
That's all right.
We'll give you our own notes.
You'll give your own notes.
pecan.
You know,
A little bit of pecan.
Yep.
Or
And that's-
like pralines or a little cinnamon.
There is some pecan in there for sure. They talked about that.
for an 86 proof, it does seem dark.
It does seem dark. I
And
wonder
I
what the
do-
char is on this. Probably
I can
4.
get just a little bit of smoke.
Yeah, you get just a hair.
A little bit
You know.
of smoke on the nose.
I get, I want to say this. I get some fruit, but I don't know. I'm kind of on the border on
Very kind of a
maybe a dry fruit.
Nice middle of the road color, kind of.
Yeah, I said it almost looks like maybe between a 3 and a 4 char to me, but
Yeah.
you know, as far as the barrel is. So let's give it a taste, kids.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
try
ready.
it out.
Smell and the taste are the exact same to me.
It's smooth.
It's smooth. It's sweet.
I get that sweet corn again. On the palate. Maybe a little more vanilla coming through with the taste.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's put it down for a few minutes. And we taste it. We're going to try it again. Sometimes you can pull out a little bit more on the second try.
I noticed the legs, Doug, when you drank it, they were real long and.
Yeah, consistent.
Okay, I put it down long enough. I'm ready.
Let me get you a baby bottle, honey.
That's good.
So any of you guys are out there, they're watching the show that are drinking, enjoying the show. They have my phone number. Give me a text and tell me what you guys are drinking tonight. Then we can make fun of you.
Get a little on the finish, a little like apple skin almost. Like,
Yeah. Kind of like an after.
Yeah,
After you
there's
swallow.
quite a bit going on with this whiskey. I'm pleasantly surprised.
I still get more of a nut tone, so to say.
Do you?
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. I could drink this, you know, and we have unfortunately drank one of those bottles in full every.
Yeah, I think we finished our other bottle last weekend.
We did.
Had to go out and get another one, but
Yeah.
you know, for $39, $40 a bottle,
It's good stuff.
why not?
And you know, as much as I thought, I was actually pleasantly surprised. You know, we got it. I can't remember if we bought it or if it was a gift. I don't remember. I think you bought it, Karen, at Market District. But you know, some of that stuff, just like the Jack Daniel's Rusted Rye and some of those stuff, because I'm not a big fan of Jack Daniel's, but that has all changed in the last year. They have some great products. You know, Sinatra and the Maple Barrel
Number
Age
27.
Number 27. Yeah.
The maple kind?
Yeah. So you know, they've come out with a lot of great products, which has changed my palate, so to say. But you know, Jim Beam, Wild Turkey, those are all the old school boys. You know.
Yeah.
You know, that's all good stuff. You know, Buffalo Trace puts out some fantastic stuff. So.
I'm pleasantly surprised with this.
Have you tried it before, Doug?
No.
Really?
It's nice, isn't it? That's exactly
maybe
how
one
I
of
was.
our late nights here I had a sip or something, but then I don't remember. But, no,
What don't you
this is
remember?
the first I've really
When you left without your
taking a
underwear?
very thoughtful sip of it.
That underwear hung on the Christmas tree
Yeah.
for 2 weeks.
Oofa.
Let's not,
The dogs
let's not
wouldn't even
tell
mess
those
with
stories.
Let's not tell those stories.
it. You're a hot mess, Dunbar.
I love how he wore his Wild Turkey T-shirt. Look,
Same
you're
thing.
just all in the mood
try to-
today.
I should have worn my
Trying to
turkey hat.
coordinate,
Why didn't I
trying to
wear my
coordinate.
turkey hat today?
There's it's a turkey hat
Hey,
over
it's
there.
killing me.
Go grab your turkey hat.
My damn turkey
Yeah.
hat. Where the hell is it?
I thought that could only happen at Thanksgiving, but here
Well,
we go.
you know.
We're going to show that it can.
So we're
It's
supporters.
not
We're
exclusive.
supporters
to
of Wild
Thanksgiving.
Turkey. Got my damn turkey hat, huh?
That's great.
And any ladies out there want to get stuffed, I'm your man.
Although you won't get too stuffed.
Catch me early evenings. I'm all about the stuffing, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Fist first, huh? So good.
Gotta feel something. Ooh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
All right.
Well, this is great. I give this 2 thumbs up. Obviously,
Yeah, it's very good.
if I had more thumbs, I'd give it more
So,
thumbs.
very positive from me as well.
Very good. All right. You kids want to jump into the Whiskey Wizard?
You want to do Whiskey Wizard?
I think we should.
All right. All right. So we're going to take a quick break, but you'll be able to stay tuned on TV or whatever you're watching, laptop. The Whiskey Wizard's coming up right now, and it's probably, 3 to 5 minutes? long.
It's about 4 minutes.
4 minutes long. So
And
check
you
it out.
definitely want to catch it. It's
All
the
right.
highlight of the show.
So
It is the highlight of the
Bastard.
show. And
All
Doug
right.
wore his
So keep
wizard
watching.
hat.
We're gonna switch it over to the Whiskey Wizard.
All right.
Thank
See you in a few minutes.
We'll see you in a
Enjoy. Hello, and welcome to the Whiskey Wizard, where we recognize that whiskey making takes scientific knowledge, an artisan's skill and dedication, and a little bit of the wizard's alchemy of air, light, earth, and fire. A friend of mine recently asked me if whiskey ever goes bad. My reaction was to laugh. Of course not, I said. It stops aging once it's in the bottle. Then he said, well, what about when you drink a nice bottle of wine and they say you should drink it within a week or so once you've opened it? Does that not apply to whiskey? Then I thought, I really ought to find out more about that. So I've been doing a little bit of research on this. What I found is that I may be in a bit of trouble here, because I have all these different whiskeys that are open. In my attempt to have many options to taste, but this may not be optimal when it comes to enjoying each whiskey at its utmost. Well, anyway, back to that in a second. Whiskey is stored upright, in contrast to wine, which tends to be stored on its side. This is because whiskey has a cork that is not quite sealed as firmly, and it's designed for multiple uses once it's opened. Whereas wine is typically a single use kind of a deal. Once it's open, typically you're going to drink it that evening or certainly within the day. Whiskey only matures while it's in the cask and in contact with wood. So once it's bottled, it does not undergo any changes we would consider aging. But because the cork for a bottle of whiskey is not really sealed as tight, you can have some loss even with a full bottle over time. And whiskey bottles should not be exposed to sunlight at all, because even the small amount of ultraviolet that can get through the glass, given enough time, can begin to alter some of the whiskey's flavor compounds in very negative ways. So I hate to say that based on what I've learned, this is the bottom line. The shelf life of whiskey depends on whether it's been opened or not. That's right, and the amount of headspace in the bottle means that, well, the more headspace you have, the more air, oxygen, and other active gases that are in there can react with the flavor compounds in the whiskey. This process happens a bit slower than it does with wine, but it does apparently happen, from what I've been reading. I think we actually noted this on some past shows, how we loved a bottle upon opening it, then maybe went back to it sometime later only to be somewhat disappointed. So how long is too long to keep a bottle once it's open? Well, as we just said, the more headroom you have, the more air you have, and the faster it will lose its best qualities. Opinions vary, but I'm suggesting about 3 to 5 months once opened, based upon what I've read. One thing you might do is to decant it into an open bottle, or a smaller open bottle or two, version of some of the good flavor compounds in the whiskey, and increase oxidation rates in the bottle. So keep that AC cranked in the warmer months and tell the spouse to put on a sweater. You've got whiskey to protect. So I may make some changes regarding my collection and allow fewer bottles to be opened at one time, favoring drinking them 1 or 2 at a time and experiencing each fully at its best before moving on to the next one. Since the recommendation for all these open bottles is to consume them, I guess I've got myself a fun challenge ahead of me. Anyone care to assist? Let me know. That's it for this edition of the Whiskey Wizard. I'm Doug Dunbar, the Whiskey Wizard for the Whiskey Roundtable. And now back to the live show.
All right, very
All right.
Interesting stuff
Very
there,
good.
Whiskey Wizard.
Look at you, Wizard.
Yeah.
So,
So that's why I'm finishing this.
That's why you're finishing it tonight. That's great.
So while that was running, you
Uh-huh.
were commenting that you didn't
Right.
necessarily agree with all of that.
So
And again, I somebody asked me the question, and I decided to do some research. I'm sure there's a lot of varying opinions out there, some of which I'm sure we'll hear about. But, that's what I was finding is that it does make a difference once you start getting the headspace in the bottle. And it makes sense to me because the oxidation process over time is going to start to change some of those flavors, some of those flavor compounds that you have in the whiskey. So,
one of the things I was worried about was the infinity bottles, because everybody talks about the infinity bottles. So, I know we have a bottle here of the Old Forester Statesman. It's got just a little bit left, and sometimes people take the bottom shot or less.
Sure.
And pour it into their infinity bottles, which is just a mixture of all different kinds.
The ends of your bottles, basically.
And, I'm curious that you mentioned that and how that affects the taste. But I'm sure, it's like with anything else, wine, beer, like you mentioned, wine definitely. You leave it out and the air hits it.
I always believe in my personal, just my personal opinion, and I completely can be wrong. No big deal. I didn't research it. Doug is very, very thorough on the stuff that he talks about. He knows 10 times more than I'll ever know. So he's been trying to teach me, but I keep getting a D minus. But anyway, being down here in the basement, it's always pretty much a very stable temperature. And there's a lot of times, which you guys know, that I've pulled a bottle off that bar out of one of those boxes, and it's cold, almost refrigeration cold. And so I think the temperature has a lot to do with that.
Absolutely, as I talked about in there.
So
the cooler it is, the less those reactions are going to happen, or the slower they're going to happen. So that's to your advantage if it's cool, and it's in a cool, hopefully not exposed to light environment. Because the other thing is light. Sunlight there's just enough of that UV that gets through. Not much UV can pass through glass, but enough does that over enough time, that will definitely have an impact, because ultraviolet, that starts to mess with some of the bonds and the different
I try to keep
molecules.
everything boxed.
Yeah.
Try to keep everything boxed.
Yeah. Dark and cool, that's going to go a long way to helping to, slow those processes down.
Just describe us Italians.
But as I said,
dark and cool.
It opened my eyes a little bit more to the subject, doing the research for that. I'm definitely going to have less bottles in process, as it were, and I'm going to try to, when I open one, focus on it, enjoy it at its best, and then move on to the next good one. So anyway, that was actually interesting.
Very nice.
You get a question like that from
nice.
somebody, and I was just going to tell them, it doesn't matter, and then I thought, well, I better really
it does
see if I understand that, and did some research, and there was a lot of information out there. So
nice pick.
Anyway,
nice.
Yeah, I'm going to go rogue, too, and I'm going to suggest that anybody watching, you have any questions or anything, because Doug is very knowledgeable.
Very, extremely.
Whiskeys, scotches, bourbons, and all of that. If you have a question you want to ask him that would lead into a Whiskey Wizard show, just reach out to us on Facebook and let us know what you want us to do our next segment on.
Probably one of the most knowledgeable guys that I know that can talk about scotches and bourbons all day long and know what he's talking about. Not even guessing. Knows what he's talking about.
Absolutely.
Good job, brother. Nice job. So what do you want to get into next?
Well, on bourbon, I'm no Eric Black yet. But
that's all right. Eric is one of them guys I was just talking about. So Eric is very, very, he's brought a lot to the table as well. So hopefully he comes.
Love talking to Eric.
Yeah,
okay.
So go ahead.
What else do we got?
Let's. You guys want to get into some news? All right. Who's going first?
You go ahead, Big G. Right. Let's hear it.
With your turkey head.
I got my turkey hat on. Trying to get my glasses on. That's okay. So a couple of new things released that they announced in mid-January of this year. Master Distiller Chris Morris from Woodford Reserve announced the arrival 2020 Master Collection. Batch proof at 123.6 proof. Oof.
That's...
Oof.
So what is usually Woodford? Do you guys know?
It's usually-
What as far as what? Woodford Reserve?
Yeah,
So yeah, we have all kinds of Woodford Reserve.
I'm just
No,
curious.
what's the normal?
The normal proof on that?
No,
You know what? I'm gonna say it's somewhere around 90 proof.
yeah, that's what I
Okay.
would have
Okay.
guessed.
About right in the 90 proof. So they say on the nose, expect dried cranberry, raisin fruit, spiced sandalwood, clove, leather, spearmint, cocoa, and dark chocolate on the nose. So there's a whole bouquet of things.
Now,
Interesting.
Does
did
sound
I hear you
interesting.
right to say coca?
Coca.
Okay.
You wanted me to say
So
cocoa?
it's- Well, cocoa or
Yeah. Well,
Well,
You
coca
said-
is something else
They have it as,
altogether. Like,
okay.
Oh,
it's the leaf that
COCOA.
you
Cocoa.
can further
Cocoa.
process and
Okay.
it
Oh,
becomes
it's for okay. I understand what you're saying. Okay.
an illegal substance.
yeah, none of that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, I don't know anybody that's ever going to snort it.
A little Scarface
gonna be-
illegal substance.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Too funny. On the palate, expect rich raisin and brown sugar sweetness, spicy leather, character atop of layer of oak, almond, cedar wood. In the palate, there's a lot going on with this product. So on the finish, long finish with raisin fruit and a malty sweetness notes.
Did you say when that was coming out, or
They just released it.
okay?
They just released it. So I was looking for the price on it, but I'm sure it's probably if it keeps up with all the other ones, I'm sure it's $100 bottle. So that's where I'm going. So what do you
Well,
got, Doug?
Glenmorangie
Glenmorangie.
came out with the Cadboll Estate 15-year-old. It's the first single estate whiskey that Glenmorangie has released. It's made using barley grown at their 440-acre estate in the Scottish Highlands. It ages for 15 years. It's in first fill American ex-bourbon barrels. Following chill filtration, it's bottled at 43% ABV. So it's very limited supply. $85 a bottle. So, but that's one I would look for. Kilbeggan Distillery introduces a single pot still. Single pot still is something that's uniquely Irish. It's allowed to have up to 5% other grains besides malted barley, but they use 2.5% oats in this grain bill. And Irish whiskey pot still is always going to use some malted and some unmalted barley, which is one of the unique things about Irish whiskey. Yeah, a little problem.
No, I'm good. Keep
Okay.
going.
So this second
Pay no attention.
limited
Nothing
edition,
to see here.
this will be.
I was going to look up something real quick. Go ahead.
It's anyway. It'll be available in the U.S. this month, and with a suggested retail price of about $45. So
Not bad. Not
so
bad
you got
price.
something else, G?
I do. I have a couple
Okay.
things. So
Now it's all run together. It's all like. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I didn't get a lot of information on this. Angel's Envy introduces the cellar collection aged in 20 port wine barrels, 10-year age statement, 111.6 proof. Expect dried fruit and a dominant cinnamon note. Cinnamon. So, but expect to pay $250 a bottle.
Oh my gosh!
Oh yeah. So that's
Yeah, probably not.
yeah. Well, we have.
So how many of
Yeah.
those do you have, Craig?
I do have a couple. Why do you ask that?
Every time I bring up something, you go, "Oh, I've got 3 of those."
Well, one of these days we're gonna sit down here and we're gonna go through everything and rebox it. You're gonna be part of my repackaged duo.
All right.
So you're
Sounds
gonna be
like
surprised.
fun.
You're gonna say, "I didn't know you had this. When did you get this?" But that's okay. I'm not bragging. It's just that's what I like to do. I like to
I know.
collect. I love to collect, man.
And you're very good at it.
So I appreciate that. So I have another one. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, I got other stuff.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Now come
Well,
back.
since 2012, Jameson's started the tradition of releasing their limited edition bottles for St. Patrick's Day. This year's no exception. For 2020, they have their standard Jameson inside their specially designed Dublin-based designer illustrator Heppy Stephen Hefferman, who designs all their their special St. Patrick's Day bottle. So this year also has a NFC chip or QR code on the label that allows the customers to create their own customized labels through hidden icons, also designed by Heffy. So there you go. If you want something special for St. Patrick's Day, and we are going to be doing Irish whiskeys in March.
Yeah, we are going to do Irish whiskeys.
So
we have,
maybe that might, something like that.
That's our daughter's favorite is Jameson. And
yeah,
she when she was in Ireland, she actually got to visit the distillery.
Yeah, she did.
You can probably get some Jameson there in Ireland.
Yeah, a little
Just
bit.
a bottle or two.
Tinge. Too funny.
Most of the pubs there have it. I've heard. Anyway.
You heard? Haven't been there?
No,
So,
not yet.
one of my favorite, Old Forester single barrel. So, Old Forester single barrel has come out with a barrel strength. George Garvin Brown founded Old Forester in 1870. And the new single barrel is anywhere from 130 to 135 proof.
Ooh.
That's some whiskey there.
They are offering 100 proof to private barrel selects for, probably like winking lizards and stuff like
picks
that.
And that.
Like picks.
Yeah.
So that's all the good news. The sad news is 90 proof is going away, and there will be no more Old Forester single barrel picks. Like if you go to like different places, like I have a ton of different
Total
Wines and Jersey and Specs and all these different companies that I have 90 proof single barrel. Those will be no longer. They're discontinuing that.
They have a timeline on that?
They just started.
Are they going to have other barrel picks? Or just not that?
They're offering full. As far as I know, it's going to be the full proof only. 130 or 135 proof, and the 100 proof barrels. So the 100 proof of the single barrel. So so that saddens my heart. So the distillery is discontinuing the 90 proof picks.
The other sad news is Clevenger's knee. So anyway.
Knee, just one knee, right?
Yes.
Just one knee, right?
You are stupid.
So he won't be starting the season again. So
see, fill me up.
Anyway, back to whiskey. I came across something I thought was kind of interesting, that Milk and Honey Distillery from Tel Aviv, Israel, releasing their first single malt. I think it was an 8-year. They went to a lot of trouble. They talked with Kavalon and some other, it's a Taiwanese, and Amrut from India. Two distilleries that are praised kind of for how well they've done at aging these single malts in warm climates. So they talked to those folks and took a lot of notes and have gone to a lot of effort apparently to sequences of faster, warmer aging, which tends to produce more of the fusel compounds that aren't necessarily good for top flavor. But apparently they're doing a good job. They say that they have a ways to go yet in getting to the ultimate of what they're looking for, but I've heard these are very respectable, high quality single malt whiskey coming from, of all places, Israel. So,
well, I'm interested.
Interesting.
I'm interested.
Milk and honey. So if we can ever get our hands on some of that, it might be a good thing to do a tasting on.
That'd be awesome.
So.
I'm interested in the Kavalon connection there because that's one of my favorites.
That you like, yes.
Yeah.
So, but apparently they consulted a lot with them on how do you try to age a good quality single malt in these warmer climates that they have to contend with. So, slow and steady is what you got in Scotland.
Amen.
Nice, cool, and consistent temperature. So
it's like cooking.
It's hard to beat that. Hard to beat that for aging a good whiskey in oak. So,
good deal.
That's right. I taught you everything you know about cooking, didn't I?
Yeah. Next time you boil water, you should probably put some water in the pan. But anyway.
You know. Yeah, I'm not even allowed to make him a bowl of cereal. It's that bad.
Oh, really? Yeah, because she puts the cereal down, puts the milk on it, forgets the bowl. But anyway, that's a whole different story. So yeah, we don't let her touch anything. So, first time she touched the stove, she almost caught the house on fire, literally.
True story. True story.
I mean, we had flames. I had to put it out, but
Yeah.
I'm like, oh hell.
I posted it on Facebook. Because everything goes on Facebook, right?
Oh my goodness. So what else, kids? Is that it?
I don't know. You got any more?
I just think this is good whiskey. I like it.
Yeah, usually after we do the whiskey, I'm over here sipping my beer, but I've been over here sipping my Longbranch. So I think after we close down
all
tonight-
right, Matt. Good job.
All right.
Nice.
We like what you're doing over there.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up, kids.
All right.
All right. Hey, thank you for joining tonight. Good times as always. We like to have a good time while we're doing the show. And y'all have a great weekend. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there listening and watching. We appreciate it. So I am your host, Big G.
And I'm Karen Helen Keller.
Doug Dunbar.
See you next week, kids.
Be safe, all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If whiskey stopped working, every bar in town would be closing their doors, shutting down. Everybody would be trapped with their thoughts, 'cause nothing numbs the pain like bourbon or scotch. Oh no, oh no, no. If whiskey stopped working, where the hell would I be? Probably wasting lots of money trying therapy. If whiskey stopped working, what the hell would I do? Honestly, to tell you the truth, I wouldn't be over you. If whiskey stopped working, if whiskey stopped working, if whiskey stopped working, if whiskey stopped working, oh, whiskey stopped working, if whiskey stopped. Poor Jack D would be out of a job. Jameson and Bean would be cut off. Hank Williams songs wouldn't make any sense. Yeah, this whole damn world would be a mess. Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. If whiskey stopped working, where the hell would I be? Probably wasting lots of money trying therapy. If whiskey stopped working, what the hell would I do? Honestly, to tell you the truth, I wouldn't be over you. If whiskey stopped working, if whiskey stopped working, if whiskey stopped working, if whiskey stopped working, oh, whiskey stopped working, if whiskey stopped, oh. If whiskey stopped working, where the hell would I be? Probably halfway out of this town, leaving to tell you the truth.